Fallen Petals. Episode 3. 5 years later. Coffee shop. Jin sat with his legs crossed, facing another young man across the table. The man sitting opposite looked tense, quietly fidgeting with his hands. Jin, look here, dear, you seem like a young boy. I don't want to hurt your feelings. But I can't lie to you either. Honestly, I didn't want to come on this blind date, it was my friends who forced me to. The boy let out a deep sigh as if trying to calm his nerves, though the tension on his face didn't fully fade. I need to tell you something. Reluctance. Jin, go on, sweetheart, calmly. Jimin, my name is Jimin. There's a guy the first study with, and we're in love. But I don't have the courage to tell my family about it. That's why I wanted to talk to you directly, nervous. Jin, I don't understand. Confused. Jimin, can you help me? Jin, what kind of help? If it's something I can do, I will. Jimin explained the kind of help he needed. At first, Jin was surprised, but then, after a moment's thought, he agreed. Jin nodded. All right, I'll help you. Jimin, really? Jin simply nodded. Without saying another word, Jimin reached out and held Jin's hand gently, his eyes filled with gratitude. Jimin, thank you, truly. CO office. Namjoon sat in silence, gazing at a photo on his phone. His eyes shimmered with unshed tears. Namjoon, it's been 5 years since we parted. And not even once have you let me see you. I know I hurt you. But it's so hard when you keep pushing me away. A quiet whisper escaped his lips, meant only for himself. One lone tear slipped down his cheek and fell onto the screen of his phone. Beach evening. The dusky sky stretched above them, painted in fading shades of orange and violet. Jimin walked slowly along the quiet sand, his arm looped comfortably around the taller man beside him. His head rested against the man's shoulder, his steps light and unhurried. In the other man's hand dangled Jimin's shoes, as though carrying them was the most natural thing in the world. Jimin, with a soft sigh. Only now, do I finally feel at peace. Teasing lightly. Why? Because you've found yourself a servant. Jimin let out a small laugh, his cheeks flushing as he gave the man's chest a playful tap. Jimin, don't joke like that. I'm just glad Jin-hung understood me. That's true. Otherwise, you'd have stubbornly refused to come out like this with me. Jimin, nodding slowly. Because, really, I have no reason to go out. And even if I did, I can't go often. The man glanced down at him, a faint smile tugging at his lips as Jimin leaned in closer, their footsteps falling into a quiet, easy rhythm against the evening air. As they walked together, laughter soft and easy between them, a figure stood watching from a distance. His lips curved into a faint, sweet smile. Once upon a time, this was what he had wished for himself, to walk freely, to lean against someone without fear, to feel safe in another's presence. But life rarely unfolds the way we dream. The man watching was none other than Jin. The moment Jimin and the other man noticed him, their steps faltered. Quickly, almost instinctively, they straightened and separated just enough to make it seem as though nothing unusual had happened. Without hesitation, both began walking toward Jin. Jin stood his ground, arms folded across his chest. Jin, faint smile. It seems the two of you had a good time together. Jimin, nervously, that's only because of you. Thank you. Rubbing the back of his neck awkwardly. If anything, we must have caused trouble for you, Jin, smiling gently, his tone calm and warm. Not at all. As long as we live, if we can be there for one another, life will always be beautiful. They both smile at Jin. Jin's car rolled to a gentle stop in front of Jimin's house, the engine still humming softly. Jimin stepped out, turning back to lean against the open window as he spoke. Jimin, I'm asking one more time. Please, come inside and have a cup of coffee before you go. Jin, with a small smile, shaking his head. It's alright, Jimin, next time, I'll come in properly. Jimin pouted slightly but nodded, stepping back toward the gate. Jin's hands lingered on the steering wheel for a moment, ready to leave, when headlights swept across the street. Another car passed by, slowing just enough for its driver to glance sideways. In that fleeting instant, Namjoon's eyes caught him. Jin. The world seemed to blur for Namjoon. His heart stuttered, his hands tightening around the steering wheel as disbelief flooded him. Without thinking, he pulled his car to a sudden stop just ahead. Throwing the door open, he ran toward Jin's car, breathless. The sight before him, so close, so real, was something he had only dreamed of for years. Tears stung his eyes, overflowing before he could stop them. His lips trembled as he forced out the word he had carried inside for 5 long years. Namjoon. Choking on his own breath. Jin looked at Namjoon. His eyes, calm and unreadable, gave nothing away. He didn't speak right away, and the silence pressed heavily between them. Namjoon. Voice trembling, desperate. Jin, how have you been? Why didn't you answer my calls? Do you know how much I suffered, thinking about you? Jin's gaze didn't falter, but it carried a stillness that cut deeper than words. After a long, heavy pause, he finally spoke. Jin. Namjoon, you need to move on. The words landed like a stone in Namjoon's chest. His breath caught, his heart hammering. Namjoon. Stumbling over his words. What? Jin, why would you say that? Jin's lips pressed into a thin line before he forced the truth out. Jin. Because I'm dating someone. Namjoon froze. His world tilted, the ground slipping beneath him. Namjoon. Shaken. What? Who? Jin slowly turned his head and gestured toward the figure who had been standing silently all along. Jin. This is him. His name is Jimin. Jimin hadn't moved an inch from where he stood. His eyes darted between the two men, confusion written across his face. When Jin's hand lifted toward him, he didn't know what to do, so he simply gave a small, hesitant nod. Namjoon's gaze shifted between Jimin and Jin, disbelief carved into every line of his face. Namjoon. His voice low, breaking. You can lie to anyone you want, but not to me, Jin. Jin drew in a long, heavy breath. His eyes softened, but his expression remained unreadable. Jin. Namjoon, time has changed. Namjoon. Shaking his head, his voice raw. No matter what you say, I can't forget you. Because of your words, I spent 5 years seeing doctors to heal me. Jin's chest tightened. He looked at Namjoon silently, torn, but said nothing. Beside them, Jimin stood frozen, uncertain whether he should quietly leave or stay. His eyes flickered nervously between the two men, caught in the storm of emotions that weren't his to claim. Namjoon stepped forward, his voice steady now but heavy with pain. Namjoon, if you can't accept me anymore, then so be it, but don't push me away as if I don't exist. With that, he turned abruptly, walking back to his car. Jin's eyes followed him, unblinking, watching every step until Namjoon climbed into the driver's seat and drove off into the night. Only when the taillights disappeared into the distance did Jin finally let out the breath he'd been holding. A soft voice broke the silence. Jimin, hesitant, whispering. I'll go inside now. Jin shook his head, forcing a faint smile as he turned to him. Jin, I'm sorry, Jimin. But, can you do me a favor? The night air seemed to grow heavier around them. Jimin blinked, uncertain, his heart skipping a beat. He didn't know why, but something in Jin's tone told him this wasn't a simple request. Jimin, hesitant, a favor. Jin didn't answer right away. He just looked at Jimin, eyes steady, the silence stretching long enough to make Jimin swallow hard. Whatever this favor was, it wasn't ordinary.